Hello. Do you think that the Springboks will win the World Cup? Look, I think that South Africa will win the World Cup next year, boys, and I'm kind of sad to admit it because I'm not a Springbok, right? I respect the Springboks. I think that to every South African viewer watching me, you guys probably have the best team ever, and it makes it quite difficult for other teams like, my home nations, France and England, to even have a chance. And I'm making this video to kind of talk about why I think that there's no way of stopping the Springboks from going back to back to back. You see, South Africa have come up in 2019, right? That's where they kind of peaked and they became this World Rugby force. And since then, no one's really been able to stop them. And I want to talk about why I think that it's kind of a problem for World Rugby. Now, you might disagree. You might think that, hey, what's the problem with a team winning? The issue is, if South Africa win another World Cup, or is there even an issue if South Africa win another World Cup? Probably not. I just think that most teams just can't win, If South Africa are there, the other teams can't win. And I'm saying this in a positive light. I'm saying it because I genuinely think that South Africa have changed rugby for the better. They have played by the rules, right? And they've maybe started a brand of rugby that a lot of people at least used to, because I think they've changed their ways of doing it quite a lot. But they used to play a brand of rugby that was quite dull, right? I remember, because I was there in the World Cup final 2019 in Japan. I was rooting for England and I just thought, damn, this match is kind of boring because South Africa are just kicking the ball. They're scrumming, they're mauling, they're battling in the rucks. They're not playing an entertaining brand of rugby until they scored those 2 tries by Mapimpi and Colby. The Mapimpi try was the best. Great rugby. Anyway, the only time I saw the Springboks lose in recent times was against Australia last year in the Rugby Championship. And I tried to understand how that was even possible, because they started off so well, they were killing Australia, and then they lost. And how did Australia even beat them? They beat them by just playing rugby, by playing an open game of rugby and playing to score, playing to win. And most teams against the Springboks try and copy their way of playing. They just, they go hard at them, they try and dominate the scrum, etc. I just don't think that's the way of doing it, because you can't beat a team at what they're the best at. The way Australia won was just by giving the ball to the number 10, taking it close to the line, and playing with the backs. They literally, quite a few times, in French we have this saying, it's dans le désordre. How do you say in English? Basically, disorganized rugby. That's how they beat the Springboks, by having disorganized rugby. When they got the ball, they just went for it. They used the kicking game quite a bit, and they were extremely deadly when South Africa lost the ball. And this is what other teams should probably try and do also, is when South Africa lose the ball on the turnover ball, or on the advantage for a knock on, or when South Africa kick and the opposition gets the ball back. This is the only opportunity that a team has to beat the Springboks, in my opinion, is going for it when the defense isn't organized, etc. The only threat to World Rugby, if South Africa win another World Cup, is that all the other teams will just feel depressed. I suppose that's as simple as that. It's probably the most anticipated World Cup ever in 2027, because we have arguably France at their peak, like their peak. Arguably South Africa, the last bit of their peak. And I'm not trying to offend any South Africans, but I hope you understand what I'm saying, is that quite a lot of your players will no longer be able to play rugby after 2027. Likes of Eben Etzebeth, I suppose. I'm not too sure how old he is, but quite a bunch of players will move on. But I'm not worried about the future generation of the Boks. I'm pretty sure you guys will still be on top of rugby. But any team that wants to defeat the Springboks coming 2027, even during this Nations Championship, has to innovate and think outside the box, because on the field it is not a fair playing contest. The only way to beat them is to come up with a strategy that involves, as I said, playing disorganized rugby, playing creative rugby, trying stuff that you've never tried before. Do you remember when Italy tried something against England in the Six Nations, probably in 2016, 2017, I believe? when they use this rule of the, no offside within the 1 meter if you're 1 meter away from it wasn't even a ruck. And that disturbed England a lot. And then Italy were winning 10-5 at half time. And that was a creative way of trying to beat England, right? And Italy were nowhere nearly as good as they are today. Once again, guys, to beat the Springboks, you have to think outside the box. And it pains me to say, because I also first of all, I saw England get demolished by the Springboks on Saturday. I saw France get demolished by the Springboks back in November or October or November. I went to the Stade de France. We lost 17-39, I believe. Was it that bad? Oh gosh, was it that bad? 17-32 maybe, anyway. France lost. We were in the game at the start, but then we just lost. The game was taken away from us by, simply put, by just not being able to deal with the rugby plan that the Springboks had. And it's quite tough to think about that, because unless a team is willing to try something new against South Africa, I think that they're going to win another World Cup. And good on them, if they do, because a lot of people complain that South Africa are doing X, doing Y, doing Z. They're playing rugby within the laws of the game, and they're doing it better than anyone else. So, Springboks, congratulations on what you've accomplished so far. I think you might struggle against Scotland in some areas of the game. Coming up on this Saturday, I'm recording this video on the 6th of July. When I say struggle, no. I think Scotland will cause a few issues, like Italy did last year. I don't know if you remember. You beat Italy without much of a trouble, but they still showed signs of bothering the Boks, and Rassi spoke highly of Italy. And I think that Scotland will push the Boks. Will it be tight? I'm not sure, but I think they'll push the Boks. What I'd like to see, there's one thing about South African rugby that I'd like to see more of, is their club rugby. I'm a big fan of the Investec Champions Cup. I think it's the best tournament in sports. I absolutely love it. It's not run as well as it should be, but the problem with the South African clubs is that they don't take it seriously enough, and they don't want to show their capacity to win at club level. Only one URC title for the South African teams. They've been in the final, sure. The Bulls especially, loads of regrets. But I hope the Lions, for example, try and do something. I hope the Stormers go and try and win it. Why does a South African team not decide to try and win the competition? I feel like it's a decision, because I think that the Stormers especially, or the Bulls, are capable of winning the Champions Cup. And I say this knowing that Toulouse, Bordeaux, etc. are very big clubs, and they will be in the hunt also. But I think on their day, the Springbok clubs the South African clubs can beat anyone. And I'd like to see more of that. So that would make the Championship, the Champions Cup, very interesting next year if the South African teams, understand, okay, they want to perform in the URC, but they put the URC second and really go deep in the Champions Cup. That would do a load of good for club rugby in South Africa, get some attendances higher. We can talk about the Lions' poor attendances, but I hope that if they draw Toulouse at home, because that's not confirmed yet, that Ellis Park gets at least 30,000 or 40,000 people. That would be great. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. I'm trying to grow this channel because I love rugby. I think that rugby could be even bigger. The Football World Cup is on at the moment, but who gives a shit? We're here because we love rugby. It's the best sport in the world. See you next time.